So during this time, if you're into nerdy stuff like the way I am, or if you cover the news the way I do, the PlayStation 6 starts to be talked about. It starts to be in the plans. It's been in the plans since the very beginning of the generation, I guarantee it. But you start hearing more little chirps in your ears about who is making it and what it's kind of going to be about. Sony PlayStation 6 chip contract reportedly in the hands of AMD. Sources told Reuters that Intel lost to AMD in the bidding process to supply the design for the forthcoming PlayStation 6. PlayStation 5 uses a custom chip designed by AMD. Sony has yet to announce the PS6 and failed to respond requests for comments on the report, IGN says. So, if you haven't heard, Intel's hurting pretty bad. Their stocks are an all-time low, and if it keeps going the way it's going, there might not be an Intel by the time the PS6 comes out. And it was in Intel's plans to try to get one of the console makers in order to make their chips to make record high profits. The way that AMD became like the king of CPUs is by working with PlayStation. The reason why they're still alive, the reason why they're competing, not really competing, but just like kind of a fly in Nvidia's butt, is because of the fact that PlayStation makes them so much money, and it kept them alive to the point where now when you go build the PC, the chip that you're going to want to have is not Intel, because they've been having a lot of trouble with their chips melting, and AMD is the go-to chip maker. They're the most power efficient, they give you the best bang for your dollar, and also they just work a lot better. The contract, which was worth billions of dollars in revenue, is now with rival AMD, which also fended off competitions from Broadcom. While AMD declined to comment, Intel issued a statement saying, "We strongly disagree with this characterization, but we are not going to comment about any current or potential customer conversations. We have a very healthy customer pipeline across both our product and foundry business, and we are squarely focused on innovating to meet their needs." Yeah, you know what this sounds like, Intel? It sounds like you got spanked and embarrassed and outbidded. And from what I hear from other people that are in the industry, they were being greedy on who was going to cover the cost of the chips. They wanted PlayStation to make a lot more investment into the chip making and a lot of backing it money-wise more than everybody else in the partnership. As Reuters pointed out, moving from AMD to Intel for the PS6 chip would have risked backwards compatibility, which was reported a subject of discussion between Intel and Sony engineers and executives during the contract talks. Apparently, maintaining backwards compatibility while switching to Intel would have been costly and taken engineer sources. Yes, this is exactly what I'm saying. And I'm guessing that Intel was like, well, if you want backwards compatibility, your engineers and your people on the inside are going to be the ones to do it. And don't underestimate Sony. They can do that. If they want to do it, PlayStation can do backwards compatibility on the next PS6. They just don't want to, and they don't want to spend resources on it. That's just the way it is. They rather charge you a service for it, period. They could do it on the PS5. They just don't want to. I don't know what to tell people. At this point, they really just don't want to. The news comes hot from the heels of Sony conversations of the PlayStation 5 Pro announcement, which has raised eyebrows over its $700 price. But when might the PS6 come out? The PS4 came out in November 2013, and the PS5 7 years later, in November 2020. If this pattern repeats itself, the PS6 will come out November 2027. One game that may be set to launch on PS6 is Fizznet, Metal Gear creator Hideo Kojima long-awaited return to the action espionage genre. So there you have it, boys and girls. PS6 is more than likely gonna come out in 2027. I would say that it's gonna be announced in 2027, and more than likely gonna be out either late 2027 or summer 2028. So I really wouldn't worry if you want to get a PS5 or a PS5 Pro. I wouldn't get the PS5 Pro. Just if you don't have the money, don't get it. But if you have the money, get it. But at the same time, I wouldn't worry about PlayStation announcing the PlayStation 6 anytime soon. There's plenty of time for you to enjoy your PlayStation 5. And also, I'm not getting a Pro because I'm satisfied with the PlayStation 5, and I'm satisfied with waiting till next generation to get the PS6, which I will gladly get. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think the PlayStation 6 is going to come out earlier? Do you think it's going to come out around the same time? What do you think about Intel kind of crying about it? Like, they should go get some French fries and some Wham burgers. That's what they should get.